Hello, welcome. I'm so glad that you're here. My name is Natalie, and I enjoy knitting, hence the title of this podcast, which I'm so excited to share. This is episode number 1. So, welcome to the space. Welcome to the Natalie Enjoys Knitting podcast. Thank you for being here. If you enjoy feeling good, if you enjoy good vibes and you are embracing an attitude of not being perfectionist and you like knitting, welcome. This might be your space. So if you resonate with me and you want to hang around, please stick around. I have my notes here, so we'll see how this goes. I'll probably be checking my notes and I might not be sticking to them because this is a creative project for me as well. So there don't have to be rules. That's me speaking to my internal my internal self. Okay, we make the rules here. Okay, so the order of operations as I see it from here is an intro segment. That's where we are now. Then I'll share a finished project with you. I'll share some of my whips with you. I'll also speak a little bit from the heart about knitting and what it means to me. It's why I'm here. And then I'll share a few yarny things and then we will say goodbye. So if you're drawn to my energy and you want to share in the knitty joy, stick around and let's get started. Before we jump into the finished project, I am going to share with you what I am wearing. It is not Versace. I made it myself. I call this my Valentine's top because I made it in preparation for Valentine's Day. I actually did not have it finished on Valentine's Day, but that was the inspiration. So that's what I've been calling it. The pattern is the Gingko Biloba top, and that's by greenermakes. And then the yarn I used is, I believe it's like Smooshy Dream and Cashmere. That's this red yarn. I'll definitely link everything below for you guys. And then I only had one skein of that, and I ran out, so I did the like upper straps just in a different color. I think it was some leftover Malabrigo sock yarn that I have. So yeah, I love this top. I'll try and get some like pictures more close up and like put in the video somewhere for you guys. But it's just really cute. And then I paired with this, it's like a skort, a denim skort. So it's pink denim. I've got like my pink rose quartz bracelet, my pink sports bra. So it's really just giving pink, and I love that for me. And then I have my little tourmaline necklace. This is actually my daughter's, but everything that is hers is up for grabs for me. Okay, that's mama's privilege. Okay. So that's what I'm wearing. Let's see. I am here on my couch where I do a lot of my knitting. So hopefully you're somewhere cozy as well. I have my lovely flowers. I made myself some cacao. So yeah, I hope you are in a cozy place. And let's start. Why wait? Let's begin. Okay, finished projects. I really only have one finished project to share. I finished this one, maybe a month ago now, but this is the first episode, so I can slot it in. It's my most recent finished project. It's the 2 weeks notice cardigan. And the pattern is the Dexter cardigan by Isabel Kramer. Let me just put it on. And the yarn I used was Moonshine Fine by Jupiter Moon Farms in the colorway, I want to say toffee. It's like this brown colorway. And it's just like a basic cardigan. It has like a little moss stitch pattern at the top and then another moss stitch pattern detail at the bottom. I'll definitely throw some more footage in for you guys to see the details. And then I used yellow buttons and purple thread because that's what I had. Um, and I love this cardigan. Actually, so that was my intention when I started like making of it, ideating it. I was literally getting dressed one morning, and I was like, "Ugh, I just wish I had a cardigan I could throw on." Because I do a lot of remote work, so I always am like going to the coffee shop, and like even if you're warm outside, you go inside and the AC's blasting, and I just wanted something that would like go with everything in my closet, be cozy, but also look kind of nice. Um, so I had this yarn in stash and I went hunting and I found this pattern. So this pattern, I wouldn't call it beginner friendly, but it definitely wasn't that difficult. I found it really easy to follow. My first time knitting an Isabel Kramer pattern, and I definitely would again. I found it to be lovely, and the finished item is just it fits me perfectly exactly how I want to. I did make it maybe an inch or two longer at the hem because I just wanted it to hit like, like right if you're wearing shorts, like it covers some of the shorts kind of vibe. Um, so yeah, very pleased with that one. Let me see if there was more I had to say here. Yeah, okay, so I have worn this a lot. It has been about a month. But it is pilling a little bit, especially on like the underarms and high use areas. So maybe if I had been more precious with it, that would not be the case. I don't mind the pilling too much. I think eventually I will go in and sweater shave this one. But I will say this yarn, so this is Moonshine Fine. Jupiter Moon Farms also has a Moonshine that's at a larger gauge, like a worsted weight. And it's called Moonshine, so it's like the same fiber content. And I knit a vest with Moonshine and found that it was very pilly. So I'm not surprised to get some pilling. I'm actually pleasantly surprised. I'm not surprised, but I am surprised. I don't know. I just find that this amount of pilling is manageable. So, I expected some, and this is not too bad. So yeah, this is my what I'm calling this one. So there's like the name of the pattern. This is the Dexter cardigan. But then also when I create my Ravelry notes, I usually name the project after like something that I'm connecting the project with, like either something going on in my life or like some meaning that it has to me or something that inspired me to knit it. So this one I have been calling my 2 weeks notice cardigan because back in March I left my most recent corporate role. And so I started this cardigan around the time I gave my notice. So this was like my yay me cardigan. So yeah, thank you. And let's move on. Okay, so moving on to works in progress, aka whips. And I have three to share with you all today. The one I'm going to start with, I'm calling The Ocean is My Sister. Um, and it's in this beautiful blue color. So it's a shawl pattern. It's called Kolding by Chris Berlin. And the yarn is by Manos del Uruguay. So the Manos del Uruguay Fino is a single ply merino and silk blend yarn. And I have been loving it so much. So I bought the yarn because it was gorgeous. I actually initially thought I'd make a sweater with it. And like, when you just know, like right after I bought it, I was like, no sweater is being made with this. It just didn't feel right. I was like, this is not for a sweater, but I didn't know what it was for. And then I knit this pattern, the Kolding, I knit it about a year ago, which I loved. I loved knitting it. I love wearing it. It's one of my most worn shawls. Um, and so I just decided, because this pattern I think is really nice for showcasing a single ply yarn, I just decided that I would put this to use. So, yeah, let me see. I'm about halfway through, and of course, I'm in the middle of a row. Um, but you can see this is fairly large, and it like the shape of the finished shawl, which I'll like link everything for you guys as mentioned. But the shape is sort of like an oblong tube, like the ends are skinny and then it widens and then it gets smaller. And I love that about this pattern. The one I already have, I think it drapes over the shoulders beautifully, because like the wider section kind of covers your shoulders and back, but then the shorter sections just drape over your arms. And then also knit with a single ply just makes it really squishy and lightweight, so you can just like bunch it up and use it as a thick scarf too. Sometimes when I've been traveling and stuff, I just lay it out over my lap and it literally feels like a mini blanket. So, yeah, love this pattern so much. I have been working on it diligently because I was just so excited to play with this yarn. And I will say there is a lot of ribbing. So it has like different sections, but there's like ribbing that transitions into stockinette, that transitions into another style of ribbing, that transitions into brioche. So like it's got it all. So if you like just like playing with different stitches, different styles, like it's really fun in that way. That's something I love about it. And also, like, this was my main project for like 2 or 3 weeks. And then up until like last week, I was just like, I need to do something else. So, um, I'll share that next project next. But all that to say, the Kolding by Chris Berlin, aka The Ocean is My Sister, for me has been, oh, just so lovely, squishy. It's perfect for like traveling, because I feel like I can just easily memorize the pattern and then just pick it up and put it down. Um, and yeah, highly recommend. Highly recommend that one. The second whip that I would like to share with you all is the Kuutar Tee by Sari Nordlund. I don't have a cute little name for this one yet. Let me see if I can hold it up for you all. I just started, as you can see. I just did the ribbing for the collar, and now it's transitioning into the lace pattern. So this pattern, the Kuutar Tee, is like a lacy, it's a circular yoke, lacy, and then transitions to just like a stockinette body. The yarn I'm using for this is Sussuro by Malabrigo, which I am in love with. I'll try and put in my notes what the exact content is, but I'm pretty sure it's like linen, wool, and silk blend. So like perfect. It's perfect because I love woolly. Like a woolly yarn feels so good to knit, or just like animal fiber yarn, I guess. Like that tends to be my preference for the sensory experience. But then for summer, or just like even for a t-shirt, it just like a wool t-shirt feels like, maybe if you live in Scandinavia, that is like the perfect thing, but I just feel I wouldn't use that as much. So I fell in love with this yarn. I got it. I was shopping in Florida at Sheep Thrills, which is in Lauderhill, Florida. And I just knew I was going to make something with it. I mean, it's gold, which, oh, gold is like one of my colors. So I was like shopping around a little bit, and I landed on the Kuutar Tee, one, because on Ravelry, I was seeing that a lot of people use the same yarn. to make this shirt. I think it is the actual recommended yarn for the pattern. So like, all right, that makes sense. So I landed on this pattern, and I typically don't love a circular yoke. Like it's not, I tend to go for raglan or saddle shoulder type styles, or like the contiguous, like petite knit does like a lot of contiguous style shoulders, drop shoulder. Maybe that's what that's called. If you know, feel free to correct me. But basically, like this circular yoke where it's just like getting wider, I already have kind of broad shoulders, so it's not always flattering. But I have knit a few, and I think it can look good, especially with like details on the yoke, in the way that this has a lace detail. So I just transitioned to the lace section, and it is remarkably memorizable. Like I don't have a ton of lace knitting experience. I have some, but there is a chart. I think the pattern also includes written instructions, but I've been using the chart, and the repeats are not too complex. There's like no super weird new stitches that I have to learn. So this feels like it is just flying. Like I literally started it a couple days ago. I haven't even had that much knitting time available to me, but like every time I sit down to knit this, I just like, I don't want to stop. So, yay. So glad for this. Also grateful that I had this as like a break from the Kolding shawl. One thing that was kind of interesting to me is I'm using the recommended needle size, and it's a 2.5 US. There's two needles, 2.5 US size and US size 3. And I did not have any size 2.5 in my stash of needles and supplies. So I had to order some, and that was surprisingly difficult to find. I think I did find an Amazon seller. I mean, it's not impossible to find. You can like Google it, but just like my go-to places for getting needles didn't all have it. So that was interesting. I guess that's like a side effect of, I was gonna say, of knitting a Scandinavian knit, but actually, okay, Lily Kate France also has a pattern that uses a 2.5. Maybe it's more common than I think, but I had to go out and buy those. So now you know. Okay, so that was whip number 2. Let's move on to number 3. So, number 3, I am calling my Champagne and Roses top. Oh, knitting needle down. Okay, so this whip is nearly finished. I'll hold up for you guys. The pattern is the Tonight top by Lily Kate France. And it's like a shell blouse. It is designed to have like a mini turtleneck. Um, it has a ribbed hem and just like a very small, I guess it's like moss stitch, but just like a detail on the side that's nice. And then it has these double knit arm edgings. There's no sleeves, but like the shoulder portion has this double knit hem on it. The yarn I'm using, I actually cannot remember um the make, like the brand, I guess, the dyer. I can't remember who sold it to me. I did buy it when I was at Rhinebeck last year, so it was like a special Rhinebeck find, and I believe the fiber content is silk and yak. So that's cool. My first time knitting with yak, it seems similar to like an alpaca, maybe more lightweight. And it is a fingering weight, like I would almost say like a light fingering weight yarn. I'll try and link it in the description if I can find the yarn band, but it's this gorgeous champagne color, which is part of the inspiration behind the name because like it's the tonight top. Um, and I just think this color is really elegant. Like I've been on this journey. Oh, okay. No stitches will be dropped. I've been on this journey in knitting, like of trying to create things that hit all my buttons, that are joyful to make, that make me feel luxurious or cozy, that I actually wear and they are functional and that wear well. And so they're high quality, and also are well made. So, like, my stitches gotta be stitching. Um, so, yeah, that's my goal with a lot of my projects. And yeah, I just feel like this has come together very well. I believe I'm knitting like the size 2. I have knit the Tonight top before. Um, so second time through, it's a great pattern. Lily Kate France, I've done a couple of her patterns now, and she's a great pattern writer. Like so detailed, everything explained. Um, Options for different body types. This top specifically has like the option to include bust darts if like your bust measurement is wider than like the standard. So I just love the pattern. I've been loving the yarn. I'm ready to wear this one, honestly. Like I got through the body and then I've kind of been procrastinating on those double knit edges because they are a little, it's just like a little fiddly. It's not awful at all. It's fine. Like it's totally fine. It just never is what I feel like doing. Um, but I trust myself. One of these days I'll just set aside an afternoon and finish that armhole. And then I think the collar ribbing will be really quick and simple. I tend to enjoy collar ribbing. Um, so yeah, I think it will fly by once I actually give it some more time and then I can finally wear it. So stay tuned, podcast viewer, if you return, which I hope you do. I hope you're having a good time. Um, no pressure, but if you return, you might get to see how it looks finished. And that concludes whip number 3. So let us move along to our next segment. Okay, so for today's special segment, I would like to share from the heart with you all about knitting and what it is for me, because isn't that why we are here? So, my knitting journey started when I was young. My mom was a crocheter, and I tried crochet. I don't know, I can do it, but it didn't like spark a fire in me. And then I tried knitting and I just loved it. And when I was a kid, I would just scrounge my mom's yarn scraps and make mostly hats and scarves. Um, I tried knitting like a pair of socks. They're like the size of my forearm. I didn't care about gauge or needle sizes or functionality. It was just to make something with my hands. And so that's where the love was born. And then I think somewhere in my adolescence, I was very like motivated academically and in athletics and stuff. So I kind of set knitting to the side, and then it re-entered my life around COVID times. It doesn't exactly coincide, but around that time, I was wrapping up my undergrad degree, and then entering into like post college professional gray zone of life. Which, if you're like me, I'm in my late 20s. You've probably been through that season where, like, you don't know what work you want to do. You're looking for a job. You're working odd jobs. You're moving through relationships, some toxic, some hopefully helpful, but like learning about just like what your adult life is going to look like. And I feel that time of my life was tumultuous and also transformative. Like so much shout out to the me that lived through that season is how I'm going to say it. But in that time, I returned, I re-grabbed my knitting needles and I started knitting again. And oh my gosh, I so needed that. Um, Knitting became like an outlet. It's so portable and it's so sensory and it feels functional because you have a finished object. And I just started to bring my knitting everywhere I went, and doing it all the time. And it just became this outlet for me. And I later found out that I am neurodivergent. I am autistic and I was diagnosed as an adult woman. And so that led to a whole range of like rediscovery of myself, like still being the same self I've always been, but now having a new language through which to like label aspects of my experience. And so in that process of self-discovery, I realized like, oh, like knitting is not just like a hobby for me. Like knitting is checking so many boxes. It's my special interest. Um, it's a sensory pleasure. Like it just, the feeling of the yarn, the feeling of wearing my finished items, the feeling of the motion, the repetitive motion of the knitting gives me like a sensory boost, if you will. Um, and so many other things. I think probably I could do a separate heart to heart about like neurodivergence and knitting and how those things have been intertwined for me. Um, but I just basically have found like this is my thing that I do. And so the thesis of this message, my heart to heart, the thing that I have written in my notes is knitting is medicine. And if you're watching this and you resonate, then like you just know the reality of this. Like knitting is medicine. Even other hobbies are also medicine, but basically like creating something that you love, using materials that you love, that you enjoy, that stimulate you in your senses, like with beautiful colors and soft fabrics and like soothing sounds. And then even the intention behind knitting to like slow down and to think about how things are made and to take the time to create something that might take you weeks or months to finish. It's like a nervous system reset. It is so, so good. I love it so much. And yeah, that's why I'm here. That's why I hope you return because like I've enjoyed watching knitting content on YouTube. And there are so many podcasts I love. One day I'll like share a list of podcasts I enjoy. But something I love the most about this hobby is you can connect with it in the way that you enjoy. And whether you're connecting with color or with, perfecting your technique or just like having fun, maybe like scripting your own patterns, pattern writing, whatever it is, like you can find something that lights you up and brings you joy. And then the knitting itself is just whether you're having a down day or an up day, it's there for you. It's like this meditative practice. So, yeah. That's my little rave, my little rant. I'd love to hear if you feel similarly or not, or like how knitting has played a role in your life. Um, and with that said, let's move on to our next part. Do, do, do. So the next segment is Yarny Things. So Yarny Things basically what I'll talk about here is any acquisitions, or if I haven't acquired yarn, because let me be honest, I have plenty of yarn, so I don't really need to buy more yarn. But if there's some yarn in my stash that is just really inspiring me and I'm excited to make something with, I'll also talk about that here. So this week I have one, I guess you could call it acquisition. I did acquire it more recently than other items. One yarn in my stash. I actually have 4 skeins of this. The yarn is called Ayni. Let me see. I'll definitely. This might be reversed. You guys might not have been able to read that, but it's called Ayni, Ayni, and it's by Amano, and it's an 80% baby alpaca with 20% mulberry silk. And I have a nice little hoard there of this yarn. I was prepping for this podcast and I looked up the name of it and it said apple red, or like red apple, which is interesting to me because I wouldn't have thought that. Like there is a red-ish hue to this, but it's giving like autumn, like I'm thinking lipstick. Like like a kind of purpley red autumn hues, like a little darker red, but like also kind of pink, a dark pink. I don't know. Tell me what you think. It's not like a burgundy wine color, but when I think apple red, I think like bright red. And so that's not this in my view, but it's gorgeous. Needless to say, I am let me go on feeling it while I talk with you. I saw this at the same time as I saw this, that same shopping trip at Sheep Thrills in Lauderhill, Florida. And it's a fingering weight yarn. So I'm thinking, I've been ideating quite a bit. I want to make a blouse. I'm starting a master's program in the fall. Yay me. So I'm like going back to school. And I thought it would be so cool to like wear something that I made in that first week of school. I mean, I wear things I made all the time, but like to make something special for it, you know? So I was thinking like maybe just like a nice blouse, but for the fall. So it maybe like a short sleeve kind of thing. Um, have been doing lots of Ravelry browsing. I have not settled on anything, but I was checking out, and let me make sure. It's called the Fiorellino. Fiorellino. Um, I think it's just Fiorellino, maybe Fiorellino blouse, by Isabel Kramer. So that would make it, if I chose that one, it would be my second time knitting one of her patterns, and we'll see. I think she's a great pattern writer, so that one could be lovely. But we'll see, because it's like alpaca and silk, and I feel like that combo lends itself towards like drapey, lacy, more so than structured. But I do want to look professional, like master's program, not like, I don't know, Renaissance fair. You know what I mean? Like, okay. So definitely open to suggestions if anyone can think of like a fingering weight, drapey, professional looking blouse. I've been favoriting it up over on Ravelry. So even if I end up using different yarn too, I think it'd be fun to knit a top like that. And that is what I have for yarny things, which brings us to part 6, the outro. Okay. I just want to thank you all if you have watched this far, if you have joined me. Thank you so much. I have been wanting to create a knitting podcast for so long, and I finally decided now is the time. So I'm glad that you spent some of your wonderful, precious time with me. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you have gotten some knitting done or otherwise done something that brings you joy in this time. I will make sure to link below all of these notes. So if you want to check out anything I've talked about, you can look in the description. Um, Comment your thoughts, your feedback. Like, really, please. Also, if you have podcasting experience, I'll take knitting and podcasting feedback at this time. Um, yeah, and then if you want to see me again, it'd be super cool if you hit subscribe and you like the video. Um, Otherwise, I love you so, so much. Whatever you are facing in life, you can handle it. I know you are doing great things. I hope every wish of yours for this week, for this month, is fulfilled. I hope you enjoy and enjoy your knitting. Bye.